What does this brake shop at the corner of Long Point Road and Peck Road in Houston, Texas have anything to do with Texas history? Join me as we shall find out. We are here in front of St. Peter's United Church. It was once known as St. Peter's Lutheran Church. It was built here in the 1850s. It's got a strong heritage here with the German families. It was what I know of as the oldest church in the area and the first church in the area. The building itself was pretty original. It did have a fire in the 1860s, and they rebuilt it after that. Let's get a closer look. This particular building is actually over 150 years old. They celebrated their 150th anniversary about 15 years ago, so that makes it 165 years old. As typical with most churches of this age, behind the church is a cemetery. We'll take a quick look. We're not going to go inside the cemetery today, but I wanted to give you a little history of the church itself. This cemetery is primarily of German immigrants that moved here in the 1800s, and then their families have so on grown in this area. It's a rather large cemetery, and like I said, most of the names in here: Bauer, Hewer, Meinen. They're all German names, and they helped found this area. We've got lots of streets named for them: Bauer Road, Blaylock Road, Gessner Road, and so forth. But the church itself, which we're now right behind, and you can see the steeple there, was built in the 1850s, like I said, and did have a fire. And about 10 years after it was built, and they rebuilt it, and that building is still there. They've added on to it over time, and it's merged with a couple other churches, but it's still at the same spot. And it was called the St. Peter's Evangelical Lutheran Church at the time, and it's changed the name to the United Church, but it is still St. Peter's. And like I said, this was a German area at one time known as Hillendahl. We go to a couple things named for them now. The first one being the library. Here now at the Arnold L. Hillendahl branch of the Houston Public Library. It's at the corner of Gessner and Imnora. This is another little trace of the German heritage this area has. Hillendahl, obviously, we'll go see the final piece of the puzzle there here in just a minute. But Gessner Road, which is just right there, is a very major thoroughfare. It is named for another family here in the Spring Branch area. Let's head on now to one more piece in the puzzle. We're now at the corner of Hillendahl and Long Point. This is the street name for the family that I was just talking about. And like I said, this family came to Texas in the 1850s, along with many other of the German immigrants in the area. And they were farmers and dairy farmers. And at the other end of this street, or I'm sorry, at the other block, end of the block, at the other end of that parking lot, way down there, is our final piece to the puzzle. I can't wait to show you this. This is a very unusual thing. Are you ready for it? What does this brake shop have to do with Texas history? Well, here it is. A cemetery. The Hillendahl Family Cemetery, to be precise. Here at the corner of Long Point and Peck Road. There's an interesting backstory to it, and we'll go into that next. But I wanted to show you that it's right here on the corner of a busy intersection. Most people don't even know it exists. Let's go in and look at it, shall we? While there is no historical marker per se with writing and such, it is a Texas historical cemetery. And we'll go inside. The family settled here, like I said, in the 1850s. Heinrich Hillendahl was the patriarch of the family. He's actually buried right here. It's very hard to read his headstone, but it is him. And his wife right beside him. Almost everybody in the cemetery is family. There's 19 different people buried here. His family bought 80 acres for $2 an acre, and I think around 1854. And this area was a thriving German community for many, many years. The family went on hard times, and he had actually got up to 130 acres at one point, but because of higher taxes, they had to sell off piece by piece. And finally, in the 60s or 70s, the final piece was sold, which is here at the corner, with the stipulation being that the cemetery will stay, and will stay a piece of history for the family, and stay here unmarked and untouched. Most people drive by this every day, don't even know it exists. It's just a chain link fence with some things in the ground and some greenery and shrubs that are built and maintained in the graves. It's pretty well kept for the area. I think the family still takes care of it, and it's just a piece of history I thought was very unusual. I looked it up, and as I know of, there are 7 other cemeteries or graves very similar that they're in parking lots today that are still protected in the parking lot. They're all over the country, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and they just thought it was unusual. This is the only one I know of in Texas that is exactly like this, in the corner of a parking lot of a major intersection. I wanted to let everybody know about it. Thought it was just too cool. Well, that will end our tour today. We talked about the Hillendahl family specifically because of this cemetery, the final piece of the puzzle. But there were lots of German immigrants in this particular area of Houston that was once known as Hillendahl and became Spring Branch district of Houston, Texas. Very proud of their German heritage. A lot of the road names here for them, for the families. And quite a few of the family members help take care and preserve the area. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow me on Facebook. Until next time, have a good one.